It's been a barrel of laughs, Batman. Oh, that's terrible.
Francis Gray started out as a struggling but loving family man who worked as a horologist. One day, after his boss leaves, Francis decides to steal a gold watch. However, the alarm goes off, which results in him running out the building and bumping into a police officer. Afterwards, he runs into a hot dog stand that then rolls into traffic, causing a pileup and an explosion. Francis would then be sentenced to 17 years in prison. Sometime after being sentenced, his wife would leave him and keep their son away from him, which would hurt Francis beyond comprehension. As a prisoner, Francis would work on all the clocks in the prison as well as all the watches for the guards. Eventually, his cell was covered in clocks, which would drive Francis to a point of insanity. This is where Francis would awaken his power to manipulate time after screaming at the clocks to stop. Francis succeeds with him being able to stop the clock for 1 second, and then again with him being able to rewind the clock for 1 second. This revelation would then give Francis hope in going back in time in order to fix his life. However, Francis was only able to go back 20 seconds at max, which would then cause some of his hope to fade. But with his hope fading, something else would have to fill that void, and that would be his anger. Francis genuinely believes he was unjustly sentenced to 17 years and now has a desire to get back at all of Gotham. Eventually, Francis would be released from prison, and upon being released, he would begin stealing chemicals to create an airborne toxin. This toxin would be released in Gotham on New Year's whenever the bell drops. After a few encounters with Batman, Francis finally obtains all the chemicals he needs and sets up his trap. This trap that Francis sets up shows us that he's completely blinded by his anger. He's no longer the same person. And with that, he has a completely different perspective on life. Batman attempts to break through to Francis by telling him that it's not too late to make the right choice.
It's not too late to make the right choice, Francis.
However, Francis still doesn't want to listen. That is, until his son shows up and the bell drops. Once the ball drops, hundreds of Gothamites, including Francis' son, were caught in the gas, resulting in their deaths. This broke Francis, so much so that when holding his dead son and screaming out in pain, he rewinded time all the way back to right before he stole the watch all those years ago, allowing him to make the right decision. And so, Francis did. He would stick with this job and maintain his family, as well as his family-oriented and loving personality. Francis Gray is one of the few people within this show and universe who actually goes on to redeem himself. Instead of attempting to perfect his crime, knowing he's able to, he decides to just go back to making an honest living, which shows us that Francis wasn't even truly a bad guy, but rather a desperate loving family man who just happens to be foolish at times. He's not insane, and he's not completely murderous. He was only becoming lost in the confusion that is madness. But now, let's move off the personality and life of Francis and on to the design and voice actor. The design of Francis Gray is rather simple but effective. Instead of being a monster or having an eccentric outfit, Francis just wears a casual suit. This helps paint the picture of Francis just being a regular guy even after all of this. He could have went on to wear a colorful outfit or a crazy suit of armor, but instead, he just wears what he would normally wear. And I know I said I'm done talking about his personality, but one more thing. What we can take away from that is, even while he's a criminal committing these crimes, he still just wants to go back to living a normal life. Okay, I'm done. Now, moving on to his voice actor, with that being Dave Foley, who helped in bringing so much more life and humanity into this character. And for those that didn't know, Dave Foley voiced Flick in A Bug's Life, as well as Terry in Monsters University. So shout out to Dave. But with all that said, this has been the fateful gift of Francis Gray. If you made it this far into the video, comment down your favorite character redemption in this show. I always love to hear y'all's opinions. With that said though, it's been ugly, and I'll see y'all in the next one.